Whew. It's that time of the week again, a depressing Monday. But fear not, we are going to lift the spirits with some exciting battle. Recently, I've been just drowning in amazing replays from the community, from all the tournaments, from the BBB clan, and occasionally some replays I get from viewers and other players, as well as games I played against other people. So, and yeah, I'm just like, especially with like recently, I need to like go flat hunting. I'm just overloaded with replays, and so I can't really record every single one of them into a battle replay video. So instead, we'll be casting this best of 5 in the live stream here. This is a game I played against Cool Umbrella in the BBB internal league, and man, some games were just absolutely a nail biter. Let us go with the first one first. This is a Wood Elf versus Dark Elf battle. I might have to go through some of the pick and bans to like walk through some of the thought processes, but yeah, overall super close game, super tight, super fun. Let's see. While we wait for the game to load, I'm just gonna... Okay. First game. This is the first game, so I just basically banned Vampirates because I hate this map, and Vampirates can box on this map. And so my opponent, Cool Umbrella here, picked up Dark Elves and banning Vampirates, Ogre Kingdoms, and Skaven. Of course, he banned Ogre Kingdoms since he doesn't know that I like Ogre Kingdoms by a lot. Now, for the army build here, for Cool Umbrella, there's a mixture of Dread Spears and Bleak Swords going for a very wide front line, and trying to wrap around my flanks and just overload my back line or all my cavalry with their own Cold One Knights and a bunch of Dark Riders at the back as well. Just a lot of Cold One Knights, actually. 4 of them pretty much capping the unit, and a bunch of Dark Riders. Leading the army, Malice Darkblade on his Cold One, and also, where's the caster? Wait, where's the caster? Oh, yep, Death Caster right here. The Sorceress. Now, let's get the battle into normal speed. I'm going for a very wide build as well. 5 Dryads and 4 Eternal Gods without shields. This is actually a build I learned from watching one of my the replay submissions. I forgot which one. There's just too many replays lately. And then also 4 Glade Riders with Spears. In the middle for the leadership, we have Glade Lord coming in with Prey of Anaphrema, Arrows of Kurnus, and yeah, that's it for her toolkit. She's on a horse as well. Waystalker coming in with Arrows of Kurnus and also a Branch Rave. For the missile backline, 1 Glade God with Hackbane Tips, and the rest are all just Starfire Shafts. 3 Starfire Shafts and 1 Hackbane Tips. The problem for the Dark Elves is that there's an impassable terrain right here, and yeah, they can't flank around. They have to go all the way around the impassable terrain to get into position and get to my backline, which buys me a lot of time to basically pluck up the entire front line here, using this impassable terrain as a bit of extension of my front line and preventing any flanking action. There's probably a bit of space here, but yeah, just not happening. Anyways, in the front line, Dryads charging into Dread Spears. Bleak Swords should be really well for these guys. They do have a great offensive stats and just crushing through all these poor Bleak Swords. Now, here's the thing. Malice Darkblade sit way too close to the front line, and now a Prey of Anaphrema hits him, stopping him, lowering his missile resistance down to nothing, really. As long as, like, that minus 20% missile resistance plus immobilizing Malice Darkblade basically force him to take a whole lot of armor-piercing fire from the Starfire Shafts and a bunch of Arrows of Kurnus to the face, and he is forced to turn into Zarkhan early. Now, Cool Umbrella, seeing this little gap in the front line, realizes he can just push through some Cold Knights and try to rush my backline. So I'll be using some Eternal Gods to fan out and hopefully screen them out. But the problem is there are more Cold Knights just swarming my backline right now. There's just so much mobility. I'll be pushing up my Eternal Gods to respawn. And yeah, just trying to sacrifice a little bit of my HP from my Glade Lord right now, chucking in whatever I can Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, Glade Gods, just trying to weaken the Cold One Knights, while Darkan is here rushing through my front line. Dryads beating up the Bleak Swords and Dread Spears pretty handily. I have a ever so slight advantage in terms of balance of power, probably because there's just so much damage taken by the Cold One Knights. While over here, Eternal Gods poking down the Dread Spears, they should have enough melee stats to win out this fight, since they still are quite healthy. Well, this one Glade Gods who it has survived and is not threatened right now, it's just chipping away the health of the Cold One Knight. There's not a lot of healing pressure for me right now because of such a wide build. The healing is not that substantial, so I can divert a lot of that Winds of Magic into other spells, like Malkov's, trying to drain away the Cold One Knights. Pretty much my best bet now that my entire missile front line is compromised. Another Arrows of Kurnus shooting into Darkan, chipping away some of his health, and then pinning him down with a Prey of Anathema so that Glade Lord can move away and shoot and scoot a bit. While the Dread Spear is now breaching through a bit of my front line here because there are just so many Druki, I can't stop them all. But right now, with the Dryads and Eternal Gods holding the line, things are stabilized quite a bit, and Malkov's further draining away the health of the Cold One Knight. While these Cold One Knights are still healthy, but they are tied down by Dryads. All my missiles are pretty much compromised right now, other than my single entities, really. Darkan down to roughly 60% HP, and I'll be keeping my Glade Lord on the move while this Glade Rider is chasing off the Cold One Knights, making sure they're not coming back to fight. At the back here, this one Cold One Knight is still very healthy, but pinned down by Glade Riders, Eternal Gods, and Dryads. They got nowhere to run. And a Fate of Buna on the Glade Riders, very expensive use of magic, but of course, trying to destroy my mobility might be worth it here, as the Cold Knights can't really take too much damage. But another Malkov's here draining the health of the Cold Knights, making sure they will be suffering in the hands of a lot of Eternal Gods and the direct magic damage. So these Cold Knights are no long for this world either. And on the field, I just have a lot of bodies on the field. Eternal Gods repelling Bleak Swords. There are still some Glade Gods here now cross-firing onto the Cold Knights. They have suffered a lot of damage, but they still have 45 models and a lot of firepower left. So yeah, their armor piercing will be very useful here. Another Arrows of Kurnus, really just trying to invest all my Arrows of Kurnus onto Malice Darkblade, trying to push him ever closer to that. Trying to push him down to 0 HP as soon as possible, and trying to avoid combat really to stop him from healing for now. Pinning him down also with the Prey of Anathema. The Bloodstorm is giving him a little bit of damage resistance, but that is fine since we are just kind of waiting him out to die really. While my key unit, the Glade Lord, is backing up. Some Glade Gods also returning. Now they are moving and firing, using their armor-piercing firepower to further chip away the health of Malice Darkblade. The Waystalker is sacrificed, using his body, his HP, to buy time for Malice to go down, distracting him, while the rest of the Starfire Shafts crossfire in. At the back here, Cold One Knights running down the Dryads. The 60 armor doesn't mean much against the armor-piercing, but they do have the numbers, and Malice is just not having a good time. Glade Gods continue to fire in, and the homing missiles on these Waystalker and Glade Lord just hurts. Another just really trying to work him down right now, dropping in a Malkov's. With Malice going down so low in HP, there's really not much the Dark Elves can do to turn this game around. And yep, that's it for the first game here. Very nice, very nice first game for myself. Since Cool Umbrella is indeed a great player and I have a lot of great builds in the pocket. But this build I learned from one of the other players. Sorry about that. I forgot. I forgot which one. Was it Strat Games? I swear I cast this game in one of my replays over the past few weeks in one of the BBB tournament streams. But oh well. Anyways, for the army performances here, the Glade Gods pretty much earn back their own valor here. Yeah, all of their valor are recovered. Yeah, so pretty decent stuff. Basically nuking Malice Darkblade early with the help of a couple Arrows of Kurnus, forcing the Darkan transformation early, and then his clock starts ticking, which gives the Dark Elves opponents a great advantage. Just to stopping Darkan from fucking over that balance of power in the late game, because sometimes you just fight till the end while Malus he'll cap himself and then he turns into Darkan and then you're screwed. So yeah, forcing his transformation out early is super critical when you're trying to fight Malus. For the front line, Dreads did okay. All they had to do was really just beat back the Dread Spears and Bleak Swords, while the Glade Riders, well, they are just facing superior cavalry this time with 4 freaking Cold One Knights, and they can't really do much here, other than just get run down. Eternal Gods, solid stuff. Actually, not quite solid. Most of their use was just being extra bodies on the field, either to drag down Koa Knights, or in the late game when there's only Malus Darkblade left and your Eternal Gods, and then you need to drag him down. Then, well, Armor Piercing and Anti-Large. Probably one of my favorite spear units. Favorite low-tier spear unit, really. Because they are the only one with Armor Piercing. And they have the ability to get shield. Of course, we're getting the non-shielded variant here because of all the investment in the archers. Getting the more expensive Starfire Shaft and Hackbane Tips is quite a hefty fund. So yeah, gotta invest if you want to have some good good missile force, a missile core. For the Koa Knights, not a lot. Some of them did okay, did some good damage, just not enough to recover their own value. Really, that impossible terrain here was the doom of was really screwed over Cool Umbrella's army here. Because if there is enough mobility to swarm my backline, just that taking so much time to circle around allowed my archers to fire, and Malus just got shot up big time. Other than that, the front line weren't really able to do much here. They were not a good trade against the Dryads, and especially being shut up beforehand. Yeah, just sad times overall. Malus Darkblade, 500 damage. Really trying to shut him down hard with the missile combo here. And oh, the Branch Wraith also do some great damage just because there's so much Malkovs draining the health of the Koa Knights. Still one of the better anti-cavalry spell in the Dryad's arsenal for sure. Now for the second battle. Okay, yeah, there's just way too many replays recently. Second battle, Empire versus Greenskin. Now, I haven't played this matchup for so long, and just by looking at the army build, you might see that this might be a problem here. As usual, I just bring Balthasar Gelt plus Sunmaker. Pretty much my favorite combo now for the Empire army. I don't even bring Calfrance or Boris or Volkmar, just this guy. Just the Supreme Patriarch. Just because his spell kit is really nice. Especially combined with a couple captain, it can be a very strong single entity sniping force. But unfortunately, there are no single entities to snipe here. A lot of Greenskin cavalry and mobility. The Green Tide, a whole bunch of Squig Herds plus a whole bunch of goblins in the front line, backed up by Orc Boarboy Biggins and a shit ton of Spider Riders, and a single River Troll for that melee debuff. The smelly, yeah, overwhelming odor. There's also a Broken Tusk Mob, and leading the army, a single Azak the Slaughterer in the sky. Definitely trying to swarm my army here with sheer numbers, and I'm not exactly equipped to deal with it. Spears in the front line, swordsmen in the front line, they can easily get crumped by whatever the Greenskins are bringing here. The only thing I'm relying on here is the Sunmaker, hoping to like thin out the numbers of my opponent. Also, the War Wagons just to chip away enemies' health. Now, the River Trolls, they don't have the missile resistance like a Stone Troll, so should not be a great problem here, but the Stone Trolls here, now that's a great problem. With their 25% missile resistance plus regeneration, they can stop my missiles from doing a lot of damage. Now, I'm trying to do some cheeky charges here, dropping in my, my captain to slow them down, while on the side, Empire Knights being pinned down by Broken Tusk Mobs and the Spider Riders. Now, the War Wagons will be chipping away their health, plus the little bit of fire support from the Sunmaker dishing some damage against the Broken Tusk Mobs, but the Greenskin mobility is overwhelming this flank here. Like, look at so much mobility! Oh god! I've got nothing to stop them because a lot of investments have gone into the characters and the mobility here, and they are on the other side trying to repel the broken tusk mobs and whatnot. And yeah, these guys, they are just free to rush in. Yep. Squidcurse charging into spears. They will be taking some anti-large damage. And oh, hurts. Fate of Buna on the Empire Knight, trying to burst them down as soon as possible. Basically deleting the unit. A little bit of Searing Doom here, trying to thin out the health of all these blobbed up Greenskin mobility in the skies. Balthazar Gelt is charging towards Azek, trying to repel him. And I need to employ these Empire Knights to intercept all the Orc Borbor Biggins as soon as possible, while the Sunmaker is still trying to thin out the health of the broken tusk mobs. But the trolls are coming in, crashing straight for the front line here, while my other front line are just crumbling against this combined assault of goblins and Squig Herds. A true issue for me here, right here. But yeah, War Wagons keep shooting right now, doing some damage to the broken tusk mobs, and now they're shifting their target to the River Troll Hag. But that's going to take them quite some time to work through all the fake HP on these River Trolls, while the Stone Trolls are rushing and crumping my Swordsman. Another Searing Doom coming in as the overcasted version, doing massive damage to the Orc Boy Biggins, but they are still fighting indeed, as they are indeed the boys here. And a lot of mobility really just swarming my backline, and I do not have enough resources, not enough wide enough of a belt to stop them. While the Broken Tusk mobs, not Broken Tusk mobs, they have been routed actually all the way over there, but the Orc Boy Biggins are now pressuring my War Wagons with their anti-large armor piercing, doing massive damage. The counterfire is doing a lot of damage in return, but it's just not fast enough to burst them down. Well, over here, River Trolls have got into melee combat. A final transmutation, really trying to work down the HP on all these units. But then, as I simply move away from this blob here, and then the River Trolls are no longer in the effect of the direct damage spell. Yeah, at this point, a lot of my resources are overwhelmed. And Trolls, Forest Goblins, Spider Riders, rear charges of Goblins, Spider Riders, and then the Empire Knights, who rely so much on their armor, just simply can't withstand all these armor piercing. And the Empire Knights are falling, and the Empire Captain is also not having a good time either. Squigs coming in to surround Azak the Slaughter, plus repelling Empire Captain and Balthazar Gelt. The Plague of Rust was my one last-ditch effort trying to burst down Azak the Slaughter, but there's just so much stuff surrounding the captain, and he does not have the best leadership to actually hold the line. And yeah, despite having the ability literally called holding the line. Okay, and the Empire Captain is routed. At this point, the Sunmaker is gone. The last of the War Wagon is now tied down by Forest Goblins, and a lot of my resources are just being chased away. Spirit Leech coming in to drain away the health of Balthazar Gelt, pulling my balance of power all the way closer and closer to army losses, and that basically is it. I have nothing to turn this game around, as Balthazar is terrified, Empire Captain surrounded by armor-piercing River Trolls. His melee attack is slowed down to 44 as well. Armor-piercing Squig Herds surrounding him as well. Azak is going after Balthazar Gelt. At the backline, everything is on the run. The War Wagons, down to 3 models right now, will be chased off by the Orc Boar Boy Biggins, as well as the Spider Riders. Another Searing Doom came down, but that is just the last defiant cast of Balthazar Gelt. As the Slaughter comes in, whack him in the face. Balthazar needs higher armor because he's literally a body of metal. But either ways, he's surrounded by goblins, surrounded by river trolls. Azak the Slaughter is hitting him in the face. Plus, Terra is in effect. Another Spirit Leech pushing him all the way down to 0 HP. Probably can kill him with this cast. But yeah, army losses was hit. And that's it for the second battle. And yeah, indeed. Let's see. For the army performances, let's talk about the Greenskin first. Azak the Slaughter, a lot of Spirit Leeches and the Fate of Buna, plus a few Psycho Charges. basically wrecked a lot of my key units, but most importantly, just acting as a mobility in the sky, dragging away the attention of the Empire Knight and Balthasar Gout, forcing them to shift away from supporting other engagements, and unfortunately, the rest of the Greenskin mobility overwhelmed everything I have, really. Armor-piercing troops all trade very cost-efficiently against everything I have, especially the Orc Boar Boys catching up to my war wagons, Orc Boar Boy Bigguns, actually, catching up to my war wagons and hacking them down. The first Goblin Spider Riders using their speed advantage, tying down my war wagons so that the Orc Boar Boy Bigguns can catch up. And the front line wise, Goblins really didn't do much here, but same goes for the Squick Herds, really. But overall, a very nice build from Greenskins here, using those sheer numbers to overwhelm any of my defenses. The Empire Knights cannot hold up against all these armor piercing, and then Fate of Buna further weakening them, shortening their tanking time. While the heavy hitters, River Trolls and Stone Trolls, just comes in and wrecks my front line with the help of a lot of Greenskin chaff. For the Empire, the Sunmaker didn't do much here, as there's just not a lot of infantry for it to shoot. The best thing, the stationary target are really just these guys here, the Gobbles, and the entire game, the rest of the entire game were them trying to shoot up the Greenskin Cavalry, which is not exactly an effective use of these rockets. The Empire Captains didn't do much in terms of damage. Balthasar though did a lot of damage somehow. Searing Doom and Final Transmutation, I assume. While the War Wagons did some minor damage, but not a lot. Perhaps if I cancel out the War Wagons and just bring in a lot more infantry, perhaps I had a chance. Perhaps. Or just not bring the Empire Captains. Just bring Balthasar on his steed and probably would have been fine. Either ways, not the proudest game I have. Empire Knights. Empire Knights not doing a lot of damage either. Spears, Empire Infantry got crumped hard. Really got crumped hard here with all the trolls and gobbles and squigs. Alright. Hello there, Mr. Teufel. Yeah, the dreaded trio. They can snipe out a lot of stuff. I've fought them. I used them to fight I've used them to fight a bunch of dragons. No, was it dragons? No, Karl Franz, Boris Todbringer, not Karl Franz, but definitely Boris Todbringer multiple times. And then Albrecht de Bordeloo, even King Ludwig fell victim to this dreaded trio of Plague of Rust plus 2 Empire Captain. Just really going for that single entity spam. But yeah, what's next? I've been playing too much games lately. Anyways, Core Umbrella going for Skaven this time, while I will be going for the Beastmen army. This army was a little bit of inspired by one of I think was it Phoenix King versus I watched Phoenix King versus Human Boy Yes Yes Best of 5 on Daft Plays channel. And yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is Skaven. I should go full force of just go numbers. Sheer numbers here. Gore Herds with shields. Gore Herds with shields. Just a lot of Gore Herds with shields. Ungore Herds, and then a bunch more Ungore Herds on the flanks, trying to go for that overwhelming tactics here, combined with the Centicles to punch through the flanks and get into the backline. Razor Gore Herds for their armor piercing to hit up the weapons teams. For the backline, a couple Ungor Raiders supported by the Ray Shaman of Beast on foot because chariots are bugged. And then for the Lord of Choice, Morgr the Shadowgate coming in with all his Chaos Spawn summons, and more importantly, this Call of Violence. Spoiler alert, a very key ability in the late game. Harpies in the skies, providing even more mobility to overwhelm the Skaven lines. While the Skaven box here, Skaven Slaves, Skaven Slaves, Skaven Slave Spears, more Skaven Slave Spears, Red Ogres for their weight, for their extra bodies and armor piercing as well. Skaven Slave Spears defending the backline, and the Storm Vermins with Halberds, one of them the Council guarding a very disgusting character trio. 2 Packmasters, both of them has regeneration since both of them were on Brute Horror. and supported by Lost Grog, who has a bunch of direct damage abilities. Road of Corruption and the Liber Bubonicus, and then Pestilent Breath, as well as Vermintide. A lot of very powerful spells and abilities, and then the Ikig Zaps up here to snipe out my monsters and possibly chariots. Although I doubt Cool Umbrella was expecting chariots. And indeed, as the artillery is already firing into the Brave Shaman. He is a foot character, so it's doing some damage to him, but not the worst thing. And it's probably more devastating to the Razor Gore Herd. Though the Razor Gore Herd are not the most expensive mobility all around. Probably the Centacle, if I remember correctly, the Centacles were more expensive. So yeah, it's not some damage that I can't take. Anyways, there's no Poison Wind Gobadiers, no weapons teams here. So my plan of bulldozing the blob with the Razor Gore Herds has been destroyed, unfortunately. Yeah. Anyways, I'll be pushing in some Harpies, flooding the Skaven Slaves, and then the Gore Herds will be pushing into melee combat. Also, Ungor Raiders are moving in, hoping to silence this artillery as soon as possible, while the Ikig Zaps are not really doing much damage here. Just kill like 2 models despite shooting for so long. Anyways, seeing my Ungor Raiders pushing in, Cool Umbrella will be responding with the Skaven Slave Spears, and I need to pull away the Ungor Raiders. Thankfully, they don't have the worst melee stats, and they wouldn't be dying that soon. Harpies coming in to stop those spears. A very nice Pestilent Breath, doing some great damage to the Ungor Raiders, but they are still firing. No models killed. 6 models killed. But they're still firing and they're not routing, and the Ikig Zaps will be taking substantial damage. On the flanks, Ungor Raiders trading against Ungor Herd trading against Skaven Slave Spears, which is a great trade for me in general. Gore Herds breaching through the Skaven front line while the Harpies are pushing into the back, silencing and routing the Ikig Zaps. Now the Centaurs have charged in, trying to overwhelm the flank defenses using their great charge bonus and also the support of Ungor Herd, but more spears are coming in. Centaurs coming in as well. I'll be dumping some Flock of Doom here, draining the health away from the Skaven front line. Gore Herds would not be a match against the Unbreakable Council Guard, but any damage would help against an Unbreakable unit. 1 less HP means that I have 1 less HP to fight in late game. In the front, Chaos Spawn has been summoned to breach the Skaven front line and everything, especially beating up these Red Ogres, while more Ungor Herds and Skaven and Beastmen mobility will be pushing into the back here, trying to swarm this, swarm and pin down this Skaven defenses. On the far side, some Brute Horrors plus a couple of Red Ogres are trying to pressure away the Centaurs, which they did, but the Centaurs still have quite a bit of speed. And with the Red Ogres trying to regroup into the middle, trying to support the fight here, the Centaurs were able to do some chip damage as they try to chase after the Red Ogres and whatnot. Chaos Spawns charging straight into combat, but unfortunately the heavy armor and elite melee stats of the Council Guard means that they will be doing minimal damage and taking maximum damage in return. The Ungor Raiders using their missile damage to really try to thin out the enemy HP as much as possible, and Flock of Doom draining their health away from the Council Guard. Now with the only armor unit on the field being the Council Guard and Storm Vermin, this is pretty much necessary to dump in the Razor Gore Herds to try and chip away the health of all these Council Guard heavily armored Skaven units. At the back, a Chaos Spawn is triggered because of the passive ability. I totally forgot what the thing is called, but was it this one? No, not this one, but yeah. Yeah, the Spirit Essence of Chaos. Auto summoned by Morgar the Shadowgate. Now the Chaos Spawn will be rushing into combat, trying to fight this blob with the support of a lot of Razor Gores and a lot of Centaurs. Really the only thing holding the front line, while over here at the back, I'll be dumping in a Feral Manticore summon and try to terrify away the Red Ogre so that I can protect the Ungor Raiders. My best bet in chipping away the health of all these Packmaster and Council Guard, as they're firing in against the Packmaster here, really trying to grind away the health of the Skaven, regenerating Skaven character. Centaurs charging in again and again with their rear charges, but the Council Guard are indeed unbreakable and will not be routed by some meager units like these. Another Flock of Doom dumps in. Just at this point, I'm just really trying to dish out as much damage with the magic as possible on the most expensive unit. While at the back here, Feral Manticore will be dealing with the Red Ogres. I don't know if it is worth it, but it's probably better if he charges in to hit up the Packmasters and whatnot. But either ways, I saved up the Ungol Raiders, and that is probably will work out. Anyways. At the back here, I'm just trying to rout off every single Skaven unit at this point, as this middle core of self-regenerating characters plus Lost Grove would be very tough to deal with. Lost Grove, after the match, Cool Umbrella did point it out that Lost Grove is a Plague Sensor Bearer. So, that means he has Frenzy, buffing up his attack stats. He has Contaminated from the Sensor Bearer, I think. He has Magic Attacks. He has great melee stats. He is a very solid melee combatant, even if he is also a caster. And he also has great armor piercing too, so doing great damage overall. I'll be trying to fight him with Morgor the Shadowglaive, but yeah, this is gonna be hard. Morgor the Shadowglaive is good at regenerating, but he's not good at damage dealing. With 50 melee attack, further debuffed by something. I forgot whatever is debuffing him, but anyways. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's just constantly debuffed by something. Not sure what is that, but anyways, a lot of Psycho Charges coming in, really trying to burst down all these Council Guard, really trying to finish them off right now. The Razor Guard has been taking massive damage from all these anti-large armor piercing, so unfortunately, especially when they're Rampage, so unfortunately for them. Now, on top of that, to make things worse, Rod of Corruption is coming in, just draining the health away from this entire blob of Beastmen units. I have been holding back a lot of my Gold Hordes as reserve, as I don't want to engage everything into combat at once for the Packmaster and all the Skaven units here to finish them off. So just really dumping in unit bit by bit, and I really drag out the fight and slowly grind down everything I'm facing. Basically, I'm just betting that Morgor the Shadowglaive has enough regeneration and melee defense to hold out, while everything else I have, the Ungol Raiders, the Flock of Dooms, the Psycho Charging from the Sentinels, can do enough damage to all these characters and whatnot. Now the Packmaster is trying to get out of the fight here and hunt down my Sentinels, but I'll be charging them in to intercept the Red Ogres, along with some support from the Brave Shaman here. The Red Ogres taking a charge will be receiving massive damage, but the Sentinels are also not having a good time either, being hit in the back by an anti-large combatant who is also very healthy, plus they have fear. So the Sentinels will not be holding up for too long in this. Actually, they held on, well, Terrified actually. A very cheap terror and very effective against my unit. Anyways, Morgor the Shadowglaive now getting the support from some of these Ungol herds. Really, that's why I'm just trying to hold back all these reserves and also dumping in a Feral Manticore, as I thought the Brave Shaman was gonna get routed, but looks like it was not the case. Anyways, but yeah, with the Brood Horror Packmaster all the way back there dealing with my Sentinels, I thought the Brave Shaman would be finished off, but apparently not the case. So he was able to come back in, drop in a Feral Manticore summon. Feral Manticore drops onto Lord Scroll, trying to do damage to him, but is constantly missing for F's sake. Brave Shaman did manage to get another Flock of Doom here to drain away the HP of everything in the vicinity. Oh, forgot to mention, Lost Grog also has this physical resistance, making him a slightly more survivable lord than everything else. And at the same time, the Packmasters are running low on regeneration, which is a good news for me, but they are still very healthy. Plus a Rod of Corruption further draining the health of all these units, routing the Ungol herds. I've been trying to regroup all my mobility here and putting the Gol herds in reserve, while the mobility is just constantly psycho charging again and again. But yeah, Lost Grog just refusing to go down here. And the Feral Manticore is rampaging, but a very nice hit from the Feral Manticore, dropping his HP for a bit more. Morgor the Shadowgave comes in as well, giving it a single hit, while the cycle charging from the Centaurs will just continuously work down Lost Grove. But the problem are still these two very healthy Pack Masters coming in and constantly putting large hits on my units, especially the Anti-Large here. Thankfully, Morgor the Shadowgave? Yeah, Morgor the Shadowgave is infantry size, so he doesn't get affected by the Anti-Large. Both Pack Masters are hitting the heal caps. And yeah. So basically, there's no more healing for the Skaven, but the thing is, I also am very, very effing low on HP and on everything, really. There are still some Ungorherds reserved at the back here, and some Gorherds supporting Morgor the Shadowgave, but the problem is, Morgor is getting triple teamed, and yeah, not enjoying his life. Even with his regeneration, I'll be trying to dump in even more resources. God damn it, the flags are so close to each other, and both leaderships, both Skroak and Morgor the Shadowgave are running very low on leadership and HP. Another Pestilent Breath here doing some really nice damage to the Gorherds with shields. Some clutch regrouping Ungor Raiders come back in and keep shooting, keep chipping the health away from the Packmaster, but Morgor took another massive hit. And yeah, super low on HP and leadership, but okay, no. Oh, wait, what? Wait, I swear. Give me Morgor the Shadowgave. Yeah, I swear I think. Now, I don't think I caught his ability cast, but his leadership was barely held together by that goddamn Call of Violence back there. So he held, I think. But yeah, everything's super low, super low right now. A few hits were missed by the Packmaster and Lost Grove in the melee fight as well. Now it is just Lost Grove and yeah, literally just Lost Grove and the two Packmasters on the field. The Packmaster punt Morgor the Shadowgave out of the blob, allowing the Ungorherd to keep surrounding the two characters while Morgor the Shadowgave comes in for another hit. But actually, Morgor is going after the Lost Grove right now. But yeah, there was a very clutch Call of Violence back there, and at the same time, basically held Morgor together with his leadership, and then allowing Morgor to regenerate a bit and come back in to swipe Lost Grove with multiple hits at the same time. Lost Grove got routed, leaving the Packmaster against everything, who is now surrounded by a lot of great damage dealers who doesn't have the greatest armor piercing, but then again, the Packmaster doesn't have any armor anyways. But yeah, and with surrounded by Gorherds being beat by Morgor the Shadowgave, the Packmaster, despite having massive attack damage, massive attack value at 70 something, 60 something right now, I can simply pull Morgor the Shadowgave away, as the Packmaster cannot cycle charge due to the attacking rule. He could chase off the routed units though, and he's probably trying to get to the Gorherds, but unfortunately, very close fight here, and one swipe from Morgor the Shadowgave putting the Skaven army into army losses. Super close. Look at the damage value. Lost Grove getting 3k worth of damage value. Some insane stuff indeed. He's a great melee combatant and a very powerful spellcaster. The only problem is that he is a bit glass cannon, but that's it. He's a very strong lord, and he doesn't have mount, but other than that, he's just he's powerful. He is surprisingly strong, and I did not know that until Cool Umbrella pointed it out to me. Theoretically, Morgor would have lost in a 1-to-1 against Lost Grove, but I assume all the Ungors and Gorherds supported him well enough that Morgor the Shadowgave and his regeneration held out. Now the rest of the army, the Packmaster didn't do a lot of damage, but absolutely disgusting with their regeneration and terror, and also the attack animation as well. But other than that, the rest of the army really didn't do much here, as a lot of them just simply don't trade well against whatever I have on the roster. The Skaven slaves get beat by Centaurs and Gors and also Ungors, and the Red Ogres also doesn't trade well against the light armored plus non-armor piercing Beastmen unit. While Morgor the Shadowgave did pretty well as far as Morgor the Shadowgave goes. Brave Shaman did some okay damage with those Flock of Doom. And well, one of these Centaurs did a lot of damage. Almost 300 kills as well, like 1,000 damage on this Centaur as well. The Razor Goreherds didn't do much damage, and the Goreherds trade well against Skavens, but that's about it. They also didn't do much damage. Ungors, they're chaff, so mostly getting ran down and drained away by, get ran down by Red Ogres and Packmasters. But the Ungor Raiders, though, the unsung hero in this battle, their missile damage really dragged down all those Packmaster and did some substantial damage throughout the game. And they cost like what, 400 something? So very cost-effective use of them, really. I mean, I'm praising myself, but really, like these guys, absolute MVP, chipping away the health of all those units, including Packmasters and some of those Council Guard. A very, very strong game indeed. Actually, I'm just gonna quickly go back into this battle and talk about that one clutch, and see if we can find that one little clutch use of the Call of Violence. The +16 leadership is no joke in a late game where every single leadership counts. So yeah, bear with me for a second there. I'm just gonna quickly fast forward here and also check out the chat. Chariots are still buggy? I think so. I don't think they fixed the chariots at all in patch 2.4. So, or was it patch? Yeah, patch 2.4. They only fixed the cape fees. They only fixed the cape physics. So, well, chariots are still in the. Yes, they're still being hanged to dry. Anyways, what else? Hey, Knighthood, hello. I hope you liked the cast I had with the Kislev versus High Elf game we had the other day. I know it happened a long time ago, like literally weeks ago, probably months, but yeah, I've been having a lot more other replays lately, so spent some effort into casting those instead, and shifting away some of the older non-tournament replays to a later date for release, which is like the Kislev versus Skaven replay. Kislev versus High Elf replay. Everything's a Skaven when you think about it. But yeah. Yeah. Hello, Hank. Raiders are good. Indeed they are. Indeed they are. Just a very cost-effective, cheap missile unit. It's like why... It's basically like... it's basically like why peasant archers are good. They're cheap, and missile is just so cost-effective in this game. As long as they can do missile damage, they're good. At a cheap cost, they're good, yeah. Like, especially against like the armored monsters and whatnot, which are much more expensive than them. Yeah, like, even after taking so much damage, they still have the models to start like chipping away the health of the Red Ogres, of everything in the blob, especially when things are blob like that, and they can just close their eyes and shoot in the general direction and still hit stuff. So, and that means they can do damage to even to the Council Guard with their 90 armor. They're still deemed to be a little bit of a non-armor, a little bit of armor piercing damage to get through like that one armor piercing damage. It's not a lot, but with the sheer volume of these things, like, damage is damage. So yeah. Sorry guys, gonna do a little bit more fast forward. I just want to catch that one moment. If I can catch it, whatever, but I do want to try to catch that one moment of the Call of Violence, calling Morgr to stay the hell in combat, which is like literally seconds away from literally a few leadership away from routing, and that would have lost me the game, but Morgr held. But yeah, as you can see here, the Raiders have just been shooting due to the lack of Skaven mobility. There's not really anything to pressure them, and they were just using their ammo as much as they could. And yeah, really key here to get rid of the HP on the Packmasters. The Razor Goreherds also did some good job. I mean, they're not expensive, like what, 500, 600 gold? So, getting like 100 kills something, running down stuff all around. But I did blob up quite a bit, allowing Lord Scroll to really hit up the stuff with the Rod of Corruptions and the Liber Bubonicas. But, well, such is the life when you're fighting with fighting against three freaking powerful single entities with like one Morgar the Shadow gave. So yeah, not much choice I had there, really. And Ungor, but yeah, holding the Ungors in reserve was a good call because that means the Terror wouldn't be chain routing everything at once. I mean, just like once these things get terrified and routed away, they're broken apart and forced out of the battle. Oh right, the Contaminated. I forgot. The Contaminated also it's also affecting the leadership of everything in here, forcing a lot of these Ungor herds to rout since they do have poor leadership as Beastmen units. Now we're almost there. Come on. Yeah, another liberal. Okay, let's see if we can catch it. Route of Corruption. Nope. Okay. Things are still fighting. Yeah, in the late game, it was such an awkward position. I had to dump in even the Brave Shaman in melee combat just to keep everything in check. But yeah. Okay, let's see. Is it here? Come on. Okay, now the leadership of Morgar is getting lower and lower and lower. Is it this one? I forgot. Nope, he stabilized again. God damn it. Did I miss it? Oh, well, whatever. Oh, this is it. I think this is it. His leadership is low. Pause. Oh, no, wait. I probably missed it. But anyways, he's terrified. Was it? Oh, yeah, I probably missed it. But yeah. Anyways. Okay, never mind. I probably misremembered it or something. Anyway, let's move on to the fourth game. Fourth game, yeah. There we go. Fourth game, Warriors of Chaos versus Nurgle. A super annoying matchup. I can't fight all these large single entities, and I had to try my best with Archaon and, well, a very non-typical front line here. 3 aspiring champions and a shit ton of anti-large cavalry. So yeah, a strange way to fight it, but a way to fight it indeed. But I might actually put this game on fast forward, as it was a long fucking game. Anyways, with the artillery advantage, Cool Umbrella opening fire at me with all those mortars, the plague mortars, blasting away the Hell's Riders, and I don't have the micro. I have to admit this, but I simply do not have the micro to keep them alive from all those bombardment. So I was just pushing everything I have, trying to get into melee as soon as possible, while the Marauder Horsemen trying to do some poke damage against the Festering Stooges and everything else, while the aspiring champions will be moving into combat. They will do very fine against the Nurglings, but with Kugav in here, not so much. A Burnhead comes in, roasted away some of these very lightly armored plaguelings of Nurgle. But the Festering Stooges with their Death's Head is still a very insane threat. While Archaon the Everchosen already taking a lot of damage from the Spirit Leeches, so not a good start for me at all. Balance of power is already against my favor, while the aspiring champions trying their best to fight out all these little Nurglings. But Kugav Plague Father already smashing up quite a few of these aspiring champions, so Archaon the Everchosen just have to get into melee combat. But a little bit of interception from the Exalted Hero of Nurgle, so Archaon will be fighting him instead. Activating Fight or Die, the Armor of Morkar, and the Slayer of Kings. Just, oh, this melee stats. 99 leadership, 104 melee attack, 84 melee defense, 870 armor, weapon strength with armor piercing, and 99 charge bonus. He will absolutely give anything an absolute shellacking. Look at how fast the Exalted Hero of Nurgle went down. Another hit. Another hit. Spirit Leech is also draining his health. And then another hit. And the Exalted Hero of Nurgle is running away. And he is not fast enough to run away from the Ever-Chosen. The problem is that the mortars are still doing a lot of damage. And my cycle charging is a bit lacking. So the Chaos Warhounds caught my stuff. Festering Stooges also dragged down quite a few of my Hell's Riders. Marauder Horses taking substantial damage as well. So still not too great for me, but Aspiring Champions are holding, even against the large armor-piercing Soul Grinder monster here. They're also fighting against the Aspiring Champions. With their magic attacks, they should do fine against the lightly armored Exalted Plague Bearers. Yeah, they do have enough melee stats to do some decent damage. Just that they can't burst them down quickly. Well, I'll be charging in Archaeon and using Spirit Leech again and again, hoping to work down the single entities, which is not an easy task. The Marauder Horsemen are now shooting, but they're also getting counter shot. And while microing other stuff, I just can't. I don't have the micro to keep these guys on the run to dodge every single mortar. So I'll be chucking in Archaeon the Ever-Chosen here, trying to work them down using his supreme melee stats, which is working quite favorably. But there's only one Archaeon and he can only tie down one mortar unit in melee combat. So that means Kugav is free to shoot, while the Marauder Horses here are just trying to shoot at whatever they can get their hands on. They should move in to shoot at the Kugav Plague Fodder, but now Kugav is shifting around to shoot him instead, while the Soul Grinder, who is free from melee combat, is now, well, also shooting them. So yeah, things are looking quite rough for me. Aspiring Champions go into melee combat, slowly work down the stuff, but Kugav Plague Fodder is just going for a firefight against all these Marauder Horses. Archaeon playing merry-go-round with this one Soul Grinder here, using Spirit Leech, and his attacks finally work one down. But the thing is, a lot of my Marauder cavalry is now extremely exhausted, while the Aspiring Champions are slowly being drained away by Kugav's Mortis Engine effect. The Soul Grinder tries to run away from Archaeon, but Archaeon is indeed chasing after him. But with the Soul Grinder taking damage, it is also buying time for Kugav to keep shooting at my Marauder Cavalry, which is my best bet to work down Kugav Plague Fodder, as he is also a powerful melee combatant. But I can't fight Kugav without first getting the Soul Grinder done. But at this point, a lot of my stuff is just kind of done in melee combat, taking too much damage. Archaeon activating Slayers of Kings, but Kugav do have that kind of melee stats to punch through his defenses. 50 melee attack and 55 melee defense actually land a hit on Archaeon the Ever-Chosen there. While Archaeon is distracting Kugav, the horses will be coming in for melee combat, and I totally forgot some Chaos Warhounds who have overchased the Nurgle Warhounds away, but things are looking slightly better in my favor now. Spirit Leech draining the health of Kugav away, but Kugav's point-blank shot is also doing damage to Archaeon. Now I'm just charging in stuff, but at this point they are also suffering from the Mortis Engine effect from Kugav Plague Fodder. So it's probably a bit of misplay from my end here. I was trying so desperately to work down the Festering Stooges, I forgot about the Kugav's health draining, and all these stuff are getting lower and lower in terms of HP. Every second they're taking damage. And another point blank shot, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I do find sometimes these kind of like point blank shots, they're engaged in melee but they're still shooting, to be kind of ridiculous. But yeah, anyways, the game is like that, so I can't really complain. Searing Doom comes in, trying to work down and thin out all those Festering Stooges, and did some minor damage against Kugav Plague Fodder. The Warhounds finally remembered by myself. Will be going into combat, but balance of power is against me indeed. Archaeon the Ever-Chosen going for Cycle Charge again and again and again, but he's also getting slowed by the curse of the slug, and also being drained by the Kugav Plague Fodder's yeah, his attack is lowered, Pestilence Decay draining his health, and he is getting distracted by the Festering Stooges as well, and getting hit in the back. Now down to 1000 HP versus 4k on Kugav Plague Fodder. It is not an easy task to fight, and another shot comes in point blank, and he's taking more damage. Balance of power is still quite even, but unfortunately Archaeon the Ever-Chosen down to his last 800 HP. Fight or Die is active, so that means that gives him a little bit more attack, but he's down to 300 and something HP. So can Archaeon do it? He'll be pulled out from the battle. He'll be pulling out from the engagement, leaving the Warhounds in fight. He's solo, but the damage is still ticking. The damage drain is still ticking. Spirit Leech comes in. He'll be coming in for a single charge, down to 200 HP, and he's dead. Dead to the vomit from Kugav's belly, and that put everything into army losses, finishing the game for me. Super close battle, really. And the damage value is absolutely insane. If you remember, Archaon actually single-handedly finished off all of the Soul Grinders and worked down Kugav's HP to a ridiculously low amount. But then Kugav just have so much HP, there's just too much even for Archaon the Ever-Chosen himself, getting 5,500 gold worth of damage value. And the supporting Aspiring Champions also did well as an anchor. They can't really do too much damage over the course of battle. They're so expensive, they simply can't recover their value. But they provided an anchor, which is the most important part. Which is not the most important part, and they're not afraid of the pestilent. No, what is it? What is the stream of corruption? They don't care about stream of corruption. So the area of effect damage is basically minimal to these guys. And yeah, Aspiring Champions taken a lot of they just absorb a lot of damage from the hits from the Nurglings and just work them down. And on top of that, being a great anvil, they pin down the Nurglings, allowing the Archaon the Ever-Chosen to just burn through everything, burn through the Nurgle chaff with a single burning head. What else? We have the House Riders of Slaanesh not doing much here, since they just don't do much against this blob. I almost think that it's just better for me if I just forgo the House Riders and just bring a massive Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and just call it a day. That'd probably work even better than all these recharging House Riders. But I actually expected a very wide Marauder build from Nurgle, but I guess I still need to work a bit more in this matchup. And since this seems to be a very effective build against Chaos Warriors. The Marauder Horsemen did pretty well overall. Some of them recovered quite a bit of their value, the others did not, unfortunately, being blasted by the Plague Mortars. Warhounds did some okay damage, but that's about it. And Kugav Plague Fodder, 5,400 gold and 27 worth of damage value, really just draining everything away and using those Plague Mortars, using Stream of Corruption to really work down my forces, but mostly really just hitting Archaon with his armor-piercing attacks and missiles. The Grandfather indeed cannot be resisted, Cool Umbrella. The Soul Grinders not doing a lot of damage here, surprising enough. They are not exactly great melee fighters, and their Plague Mortars can be quite low in terms of accuracy. So really just the two Chaos Lords carrying the game. We also have a Festering Stooges doing very nasty damage, using their sheer tenacity from the healing just to tank out all the damage from everything I threw at them, really. They dragged down the House Riders, their Death's Heads did a lot of damage, they fought through all my Aspiring Champions, I simply couldn't kill them fast enough. The Exalted Hero of Nurgle, though, getting absolutely smacked by Archaon the Ever-Chosen, absolutely bodied right there. So, a poor fellow. Really poor fellow right there. What else? These Exalted Plague Bearers also did amazing, really. And a whole lot of Nurglings, they did got burnt and cut down by the Aspiring Champions. The Aspiring Champions with their armor pierce, they don't have armor piercing, but with their magic attacks and just great weapon strength with splash attack, that makes them great against a bundle of chaff, striking multiple unit models at once. Chaos Warhounds with poison not doing much here, but yeah, that's it for this battle. And that leaves us into the fifth and final battle between me and Cool Umbrella, which is a Dark Elf versus Tomb King fight. Yeah, I totally forgot to cover the pick and bans, but hey, it's all about action, right? But yeah, the Grandfather was fucking strong there. Literally carried the entire Nurgle game. If not for the Grandfather, I probably could have won, but since the Grandfather was there, I had no option to fight against him other than using Archeon the Everchosen, who is kind of bugged. From what I heard from Human Boy Yesi's stream, but yeah, I did not know that when I was playing that match though, so please let me have that one. But yeah, anyways, for the army builds, going for a very, I would say it's quite a meta build. Bleak Swords backed up by Dread Spears as a second line, and a third line of Dark Shards. At the back, Cold One Knights supported, just 2 Cold One Knights, trying to use that anti-large armor piercing to my advantage, and 3 Dark Riders in the front in case I need to screen out enemy mobility. There's also a single Sorcerer of Fire at the back here, providing nothing but Burning Head. And yeah, Malice Darkblade. That's it for my army build. And oh right, a couple Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, stationing them quite far to the front in case I need to go into an artillery duel. Now for the Tomb King's army, a front line of skeleton warriors mixed in with skeleton spears backed up by Nekara warriors. On the flanks, a couple Nekara horsemen, more Nekara horsemen on the other flank, carrions in the skies to silence my missile units, I assume, and 2 Necropolis Knights for the great melee stats, poison and armor piercing. Also a single Eyes of the Desert here hidden in plain sight with their stalking. They will be the main threat to my single entity here. Now, there's also a single Arcandom Black coming in with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. Of course, there's also the Staff of Nagash for cooldown and the Liver Mortis for physical resistance. Yep, the Tomb Blade is there as well for the skeleton summons, and that's it for the army bolts. Let's get the battle started with the Reaper Bolt for opening fire at the Nekara warrior, since I don't see a lot of targets in range right now. The Necropolis Knights very wisely stayed away for a while from my range, but now they got in range and I'll be shooting at them instead. Eyes of the Desert still hiding, so I don't know they're there. Just stalking, really waiting for the perfect moment to strike, while I'll be chipping away the health of the Necropolis Knights who's ventured a little bit too close to my formations here, and they will be very wisely backing off. While the Dark Riders, seeing no mobility to screen away, no archers to screen away, they will be backing off and then allowing the Bleak Swords and Dread Spears to take the fight against the skeletons. While Archon the Black moving forward here. Yeah, moving forward, not doing much here. Probably gonna drop in a skeleton summon at some point, but not right now. Not among the clashes in the front line just yet. And seeing Archon the Black so close to the front line, I dived in with Malice Darkblade. Decided to do that. And at the same time, Burning Head. Seeing that 2 skeleton units are stacked on top of each other. Just a perfect Burning Head here. Even I said perfect, but it goes straight into my own unit, so sucks for me. Actually destroyed one of a Bleak Swords for the cost of 2 skeleton infantry. But the problem is, for me, is that Malice is getting a little too close to the front line here. Perfectly exposed by the Eyes of the Desert, who are turning his eyes onto him. Which is a very awkward moment for myself and for Cool Umbrella, because I am just moving through my own troops. He's stuck a bit, taking a little bit of damage from the Eyes of the Desert shot. At the back, the Carrions are dropping onto the Reaper Bolt for it, but somehow the Eyes of the Desert simply are just not firing. Perhaps the line of sight is blocked by their own man and my own man. And more shots will be coming in. Okay, more shots will be coming in, yeah? But okay, Malice Darkblade is on his Cold One right now. And you see that? He doesn't have the greatest hitbox, and the Bleak Swords with their pointy heads is a bit too tall. So all the shots going into Malice Darkblade is actually hitting the Bleak Swords in front of them. And a lot of those shots were missing. Just blasting away at the Bleak Swords, not Malice Darkblade. Because his hitbox is a bit awkward as a cavalry unit, and the best chance to snipe out Malice is missed. Absolutely screwed by RNGs, or screwed by the unit aiming logic here. Because I assume they're aiming at the center point of the unit, and which is like around level as the Bleak Sword's chest. So all the shots actually hit the Bleak Swords in the head, and nothing is hit in the end. But yeah, at this point, Necropolis Knights charges in, Cold One Knights pinning them down, Dark Riders being dragged away, and Nekara Warriors pushing all the way into the back line here. A lot of my front line is not holding, but a lot of my front line is also holding on places, while Maulus Darkblade being surrounded by Necro Warriors and a few of these Necropolis Knights taking a lot of damage. Spirit Leech trying to nuke him down, but at this point Dress Spears are pressuring away the Ice of the Desert, while the Dark Riders are repelling the push from the Skeleton Horses and the Carrions. The Cold Knights, after taking substantial damage throughout the combat, they are now coming back. Probably some of them got hit by the Fate of Buna, but not a big deal here. Eyes of Desert now pulling away as the Dress Spears are chasing them off, and the Necropolis Knights are pinned down by the Cold One Knight. Malus, his HP dropping low, but his leadership is not, and still have quite a bit of health left, sustaining HP, and that puts me in quite a bit ahead in balance of power, since the balance of power is against me, but that's because Maulus Darkblade is so low in health. Another Spirit Leech comes in, while I will be dropping in more Burning Heads, roasting away a lot of those Skeleton Infantry, equalizing the frontline fight a bit on these Dress Spears to hold a bit longer. More shots coming in from the Ice of the Desert, but a very timely transformation from Maulus Darkblade, pushing the balance of power in my favor right now, while the remaining Bleak Swords and Dress Spears will continuously chase down the Ice of Desert. Another Spirit Leech coming in, draining the health of Maulus Darkblade, while the Skeleton Warriors trying their best to repel the Cold One Knight. But at this point, things are looking very bleak. Indeed, very bleak for the Tomb King's army. And yeah. Arkan the Black had no choice but to flee away from Maulus Darkblade, while the Skeletons tries to bog him down. He'll be going after the Sorceress of Fire, who is indeed on foot and cannot run away from his mount. While at the back, Necropolis Knights, elite as they are, with only 2 models left, cannot fight through a horde of these Dark Riders, Big Swords, and Cold Knights. While the Sorceress of Fire being beaten by Arkan and Spirit Leeched, this will be a final defiant roar of Arkan the Black. Can he finish off the caster? While the caster drops in one last Burning Head, roasting friends and foe alike, it seems that the Sorceress of Fire will indeed be routed, but the sacrificial charge of these Cold Knights, not really sacrificial when you're not dying from it. The Cold Knights coming in, hitting Arkan the Black, slowing his advance, and, well, the Dark Elves will be winning this battle. Oh god, why is this? Okay. Okay, there's quite a bit of choppiness. I hope that didn't fuck over the replays too much, but yeah. There's a combination of how long was this stream? There's 10 minutes of choppiness or more. Fuck. Shit. Yeah. Well. Sorry about the choppiness. Things were quite decent earlier, but okay, let me just check some of the parts of the replay. Yeah. Was it mostly slow, choppy in the Maulus Darkblade fight? Yeah, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, relying on a mobile internet, so not the most stable of cast. Yeah, actually, I spent a lot of time looking at Maulus Darkblade early game, so we might have to look back a bit on the early tactical movements between me and Cool Umbrella, because I was just literally fixating my eyes on that little bit of combat and basically neglecting the rest of the battlefield. And after that, that should be the end of today's stream. And yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. Hank Sara's Edge Boys for the win, but personally I don't actually use Dark Elves that much because I tend to not use meta factions. I don't know why. I just don't feel like using them, and as a result, all I play in actual combat are like, well, I sometimes play High Elves and Warriors of Chaos, so I can't really say much about them. But Dark Elves, I rarely use them, and I used like Vampire Coast for the first time this Sunday, and yeah, I haven't used Vampire Coast in like months, but yeah, and I lost with Vampire Coast, so serves me right for using the meta factions. Anyways, at the early game, the frontline clash between the skeleton warriors and whatnot, but the burning had basically roasted a whole lot of skeletons away. On the far side, the Necral horsemen caught my Dark Riders, while on the other side I was just moving the Dark Riders back, hoping to tighten up my defenses and allow some counter charge from my Code 1 cavalry and whatnot. Carrions dropping in onto Dark Shards, while all those Eyes of the Desert were missing their shots on Malus Darkblade. Carrions dropping in for I'll be responding with the Dark Riders here, while the Dark Shards are moving forward. The Dark Shards here are getting chased down by the Nekara Warriors, so I'll be counteracting with a whole bunch of charges from the Dark Riders instead, sacrificing them to protect my missile units, while the Dark Shards will be shooting point blank in the Carrions. Probably better at shooting the Necropolis Knights, but then anyways, the Dark Shards are trading very well against the Eyes of the Desert, while the Reaper Bolt Thrust has indeed did some quite nice damage against the Necropolis Knight. At the back, a very healthy unit of Code 1 Knights coming in and will be wrecking the Necral Horsemen. Dark Riders pinning down Skeleton Horsemen, and they should be able to win this battle with simply better stats overall, thanks to the Murder Prowess. Dark Shards moving backwards here as a Burning Head roasting away some of the Tomb King's units. They'll be shooting at the Necropolis Knights, evening this fight between the Code 1 Knights and the Necropolis Knights a bit, while Malus Darkblade is just tied down by all those Eyes of the Desert. And yeah. And at this point, balance of power is slightly against my favor, but that's because Malus of Darkblade is kind of low in terms of HP, and there are a lot of skeletons on the field, as well as the Code 1 Knights being rather low in HP, but I'll be quickly coming in with support with the Dark Riders and Bleak Swords, while the Dark Shards will continuously pulling back. And over here, it's actually just a bunch of Dark Riders and the Sorcerers of Fire fighting against a summoned unit of Ushabti and Carrions. Just holding the... They're not holding them for much longer, unfortunately, but neither is the Ushabti summoned version. Are they on the second stage? They're probably not. They're in the second stage right now, so yeah, they're not going to be around for any longer. Carrions being counteracted by the Dark Riders. I have successfully secured my backline at this point, while the front line have been mostly beaten back by my Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, combined with some support of Burning Head. And Malus Darkblade getting really low at this point with the being surrounded by armor-piercing units, and Arca in the black here hitting him. And yeah. Also getting shot up by really point blank blast of Eyes of the Desert here. Yeah, not fun for him. Spirit Leech and whatnot, but unfortunately at this point you've seen the rest really. At the back, the pursuing Necral Warriors were pinned down by Dark Riders and shot up by the regrouping Dark Shards, and all this push of Tomb Kings were basically failed. And yeah, at this point you've seen the rest. So I'll be fast forwarding, concluding today's battle after catching up with the chat. Let's fast forward. Hank Saras, how are Corsairs here? I don't think Corsairs is great in this matchup. They can be good, I suppose, but I don't know. I feel like it's just better if the Dark Elves go wider instead of heavier and more elite. Because the Tomb Kings do have stuff to kill your armored troops. Ushabti with great bows, screaming skull catapults, which have shit accuracy but still armor-piercing artillery. What else? Yeah, I mean, they can do well against skeletons, but there's just a lot of armor-piercing available from the Tomb Kings. I would rather just go wider, because if you go more elite and narrow, chances are the skeletons will swarm your backline, and you don't have enough stuff to protect your missile troops. Of course, I'm definitely not the greatest. I'm definitely not any amazing competitive multiplayer player here, but so take my words with a pinch of salt. But that's my opinion. Tomb Guards against Whip Ladies, not great. They can hold, but they can't kill. That's the problem here. The only reason I bring Tomb Guards usually is because I want something to hold back cavalry and monsters, and they are absolutely amazing at this job, because that anti-large helps them to land hits more consistently. Plus their armor piercing with their halberds helps them break through the defenses of large monsters and cavalry. Well, the Eyes of the Desert were a killer. Yeah. Eyes of the Desert definitely is a killer. Cool umbrella. They could have nuked stuff in seconds, just that the hitbox, it's literally the hitbox of Malus Darkblade and the Dark Elf Cavalry screwing them over. Like, they could have... they were aiming at Malus Darkblade around the center of the model, but then the heads, the pointy helmets of the damn elves blocked the shots. So, yeah, that was a very unfortunate back there. What else? Satsuma rule. It's fine playing meta factions if you main it before. Yeah, definitely. But I never mained meta factions. Oh wait, no. Well, the best performing video I had on the channel was no. That's no. Oh yeah, the best performing video I had on the channel was a vampire build. Vampire counts build. But it is not okay to main vampire counts these days. It is not okay. Although vampire counts, despite their OP healing, is not that broken. There are multiple factions that can very specifically counter any, they can very specifically counter vampires very easily. Ogres, Lizardmen, what else? Nurgle. Nurgle definitely can outgrind vampire counts, and well, really just Kugath Plague Vader. Yeah, Kugath Plague Vader. That one time, Human Boy yes showcasing the 7k damage Kugath. But I guess Tomb Kings can do it as well. They do have the tools. I don't know. I can probably try at some point, but it would be interesting to see if Tomb Kings can actually do it. But yeah. But what else? Yeah. The Ice Mist when I pick them. Yeah, it's always that. Whenever people pick Eyes of the Desert against you, they wreck everything you have. But when you pick it, you just sucks. It's like the rule of fighting an in-game boss and getting that in-game boss as your companion. Same thing. Mr. Teufel, I play High Elf since Warhammer 2. Really feels good that they're decent now. Yeah, I do agree with that. I played a lot of High Elves back then as well, making a multiple weird High Elf builds. But yeah. Let's see. Anyways, we've dilly-dallied long enough about random stuff. Let's have a look at the army performances. Sorceress of Fire really there to clear chaff. At clear chaff, it did. She did. Burning away a lot of skeletons, really. Unfortunately, Cool Umbrella put a lot of emphasis into micro to kill Malus Darkblade, and the rest of the army were not exactly the greatest in terms of micro. Yeah, stacked up a lot of skeletons on top of each other, making them prime targets for the Burning Head. Koa Knights, this one didn't recover his value, but this one did. I mean, no, wait, both of them recovered their value, actually, earning back quite a bit of gold plus Chevron HP. Yeah, Chevron XP. I mean, yeah. Their anti-large armor piercing performs well against Necropolis Knight and any Tomb King's cavalry. Plus, their heavy armor mitigates a lot of the charge damage from the skeleton horses and their Carl horsemen. Eagle Clawbolt Thrower recovered. Well, this one recovered their cost. This one did not, being swarmed by mobility. I assume being tied down by summoned Ushaptis and swarmed by Carrions. Dark Shards did some okay damage, but a lot of them got pressured away early by the skeleton infantry, so not a lot of damage. Could have done more in the late game, but we didn't really get there. With the Burning Heads clearing out a lot of stuff, and Maul's Darkblade really just soloing a lot of stuff. 1,800 gold worth of damage value. He survived long enough, all thanks to the sacrifice of the Bleak Swords, blocking those shots from blocking the eye lasers with their heads and helmets, which helps him just survive well into late game. Yeah, like you saw. You probably remember how much damage the Eyes of the Desert dealt against Maul's Darkblade in the point-blank shots in the later stage. But after that, he just transformed into Darkan, and the Bleak Swords, Dread Spears swarmed the Eyes of the Desert, preventing them from shooting anymore. But so, Maul's Darkblade then carried the game. Bleak Swords, Dread Spears beat a bunch of skeletons, and that is all they need. Not a lot of damage, but hey, they got a lot of kills, and that's what matters against the skeletons. Necropolis Knights not doing well here, getting shot out first by the Reaper Bolt Throwers, and then shot out by Dark Shots, and then had to fight Maul's Darkblade. Not fun at all. Eyes of the Desert, despite those shots being blocked, still got some pretty solid value, shooting at Maul's Darkblade. While the horses not doing much damage here, being counteracted by a whole lot of Dark Riders. So basically allowed a safer environment for everything else to dish out the damage, especially the Cold One Knights being so good recently. They're just really solid now as a cavalry, with armor piercing, heavy armor, and good charge. So anyways, Carrions not doing much damage. Skeletons, they are skeletons, especially they got burnt skeletons, so they just died. And not much damage is dealt. Arkan the Black, though, did some amazing stuff. Spirit Leeches, just a lot of Spirit Leeches onto Maul's Darkblade to snipe him down. But yeah, that's it. Yeah. Hank, Red Boy had that horrible stream. I don't remember which. Oh, SE Blob from Nurgle is horrible. Yep, they are horrible indeed. Wait, did that Nurgle versus Vampire Counts action happen on stream? Oh God, was that what happened? I wasn't there, so I haven't been watching too much streams lately because real life got a bit busy. But oh God, that must be horrible. Oh, that must be an agonizing experience. But yeah, glad I wasn't there. Cause my most played faction these days is Ogres. Yeah, join the Great Maul. Yes, my man. But yeah, Ogres are very fun indeed. Well, that should be all for today's battles. It's been an hour and a half, probably more, since I started streaming. And it's probably time for me to just... Yeah, it's almost an hour and a half, but yeah. It's probably it for today. And I should be retiring and go to sleep. And yeah. Yeah, I hope there's not a lot of lagging. Oh, it happened on stream, 5th battle in a best of 5. That must be bad. Like, everyone was waiting for the battle to conclude, but then single entity grind versus single entity grind. Oh God, feels bad, man. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed this best of 5 and my blabbering of random stuff. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Red Boy got angry at Vargovs. Yeah, I would expect so. The regeneration really sucks, and they also hit like wet noodles despite being a truck, being the size of a truck. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I don't know when I'll be casting another stream, but I don't. Yeah, it's probably not gonna be anytime soon, due to real life being busy as fuck. But yeah, so far. But yeah, that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.